Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. We are at part 2 of the Brian Shaffer case. As a reminder, topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get back into the Brian Shaffer case. Facing losing his wife and then his son in the span of 1 month left Randall Shaffer devastated and in a spiral. As you can imagine, he left no lead, big or small, go to waste. He was quickly handling 2 phones and constantly in communication with detectives, Brian's friends, sidekicks, his only surviving son Derek, SVU, college officials, volunteers, etc. Brian loved Pearl Jam so much that he had a Pearl Jam tattoo on his bicep and actually had purchased tickets to see them with his girlfriend. When the concert date came, she couldn't bring herself to go, which is completely understandable. She sold her tickets and donated the money towards the cost related to searching for Brian. At the concert in Cincinnati, the lead singer of Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, seized a moment in between songs and spoke about Brian's disappearance and asked the public for help finding him. On April 5th of 2006, the Ohio State University's newspaper called The Lantern issued an article about Brian, reporting that the College of Medicine and the Public Health Department was offering $5,000 for reward for information, and Crime Stoppers was offering $2,000 for the same. By April 20th of 2006, the reward had increased to $25,000, and by May 12th, of 2006, the reward had increased to $100,000. The friend that was with him that night, Clint, lawyered up right away and has been uncooperative with police and refused to take a polygraph test, which is understandable. Meredith did take a polygraph test and passed, and Clint just quite frankly refused to take one. Brian's younger brother, Derek, said that he never knew Clint very well, but always thought something was off about him. 18 months after his disappearance, Randy told a radio host that he never comprehended why Brian went out that night to begin with. He had just had dinner with him, and in celebration of completing excruciatingly hard exams he had been pulling all-nighters to study for. Although the golden child smiled on the outside and remained composed, he was devastated after losing his mom, whom from all accounts he had a close bond with. Everyone, especially authorities, wondered if the loss of his mom just 3 weeks prior to that and the grief that came with it was more that he could bear, not to mention the high rates of depression in medical students. According to the National Library of Medicine, 400 physicians die each year of suicide. Medical students have a higher increased burden of depression, anxiety, and mental stress compared to non-medical peers of the same age. Randy died in what you would call a freak accident. In September of 2008, during a crazy windstorm, Randy was killed by a heavy branch of a tree that fell to the ground while he was clearing out his yard of his home. I love saying that lightning doesn't strike the same place twice. And however, in the span of 3 years, the Shaffer family lost their matriarch, their golden child, and the patriarch in very tragic ways. Randy joined other missing persons families and lobbied to pass legislation to implement statewide protocols for these types of cases. Prior to his untimely and unexpected passing, the bill had been enacted into law. After his dad passed away and an online obituary was made in his honor, someone posted, and I quote, "To Dad, love Brian." U.S. Virgin Islands. This was determined to be a hoax by someone who used a public computer in Franklin County. So the $1 million question is, what happened to Brian Shaffer? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think that the possibilities are endless. He was a very smart guy and could have disappeared on purpose. Maybe the loss of his mom and the stress of medical school really did get to him, or maybe he was met with foul play and someone disposed of his body. I think that scenario is much more believable to me. I definitely think his friends know more than they have let on. I really hope his family, and especially his surviving brother, and everyone that loved him one day gets answers. There are so many theories surrounding this case. Some believe that this was the work of the smiley face killer. The smiley face killer preyed upon intoxicated college-aged men in the Midwest. He would RIP them and then throw their bodies into local rivers. Some believe Brian put into fruition his wishes of living on a deserted island, possibly living somewhere under a new identity. Some believe he was accidentally killed by a friend or someone he was with that night, and the body has been disposed of. A lot of people think that he exited the Ugly Tuna Saloon that led to a site of a construction site. A woman claimed that she saw a man matching Brian's description in Atlanta. Another was certain to have seen him in Sweden. The same was said somewhere in Texas, and all did not lead to Brian. A young woman said that a young man that looked like Brian was her waiter in Michigan. Although his name tag read Brian S., the restaurant confirmed that no one with that name worked there. The major takeback of this very sad true life story is that surveillance footage shows that Brian went to the Ugly Tuna Saloon, but does not show him exiting the bar whatsoever. I really hope one day we have a resolution, or we get to know what happened to Brian. I hope he's okay, and if he's not, I hope his family one day gets answers. We reached the end of today's episode of Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. Stay tuned for the next episode on a case. Make sure to follow me on all socials by the same handle. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course TikTok. If you like my content, do me a solid and rate my show wherever you listen. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. I'd love to hear from you. Call me, beat me at yayareahousewife@gmail.com. And yes, that's Yay Area Housewife with the Y, like Yay Area, like E40 said. I'll see you chismosas y chismosos in the next episode. Adios.